Hello, my name's Ian Haydock, and I'm the Asia Pacific Editor-in-Chief for Pharma Intelligence's Insights Products based in Tokyo. And with me today is Vibha Ravi, our Mumbai-based sub-editor. Hi, Vibha.
Hi, Ian.
And so I'd like to talk to you a bit today about what you did recently with an infographic article for Scrip. And this brought together a lot of data in the research area and on the supply side for COVID-19 vaccines in India. And as we all know, the country's been very hard hit recently. So what particularly stood out for you about the information that you put together for that article?
So a couple of things stood out. One was the number of vaccines being developed, with 23 that were either approved or under development. And a single company, which is the largest vaccine company, Serum Institute itself, was working on 5 vaccines. Also interesting was the fact that Indian companies generally work with older technologies, like they work with inactivated or virus vector vaccines. But in this case, they were experimenting a lot with, breaking technologies. For example, Zydus Cadila was working on a DNA vaccine, which is a first for India. And a small biotech company like Genoa Biopharma took the ambitious step of working on an mRNA vaccine, which is again a first for the country. Then there were different modes of delivery, which means from the word go, there were intradermal vaccines, nasal and oral vaccines being explored. Second, the speed of development also stood out. Typically, like multinational companies, Indian companies also take several years to develop a vaccine. But in this case, we did an exclusive report in Scrip on Bharat Biotech's plans for a COVID vaccine in February 2020. And in Jan 2021, the company received an accelerated approval or an EUA. So that's less than a year from the lab to approval. Third was the number of vaccines that India has supplied to other countries, with over 66 million doses that were exported to 95 countries. India was a primary supplier to COVAX, and this included countries like UK, to which it supplied. So it just showed the role of India. India has been at the forefront of supplying various vaccines to UNICEF. But in this case, this was a new area, and they quickly, ramped up supplies, developed vaccines, and managed to supply to lower and middle income countries.
So what do you think in terms of putting the data together? What made it particularly valuable for readers in your view?
Yeah, so one thing I would like to highlight here is that, Indian companies, most of the Indian vaccine companies are private companies, which means they're not under obligation like public companies to disclose information. So in this case, there was a lot of data that had to be put together. It was a comprehensive compilation using clinical trial registries from India, Australia, and the US, and also media reports. So most such graphs that you will see elsewhere list companies outside India mostly, with just Serum Institute, Bharat Biotech, and Zydus Cadila being included. Also now, since progress had been quite rapid, the information had not been put out immediately. So I kept speaking to companies to update the status of the trials. And there's also, if you look, there's another graph that I've done, which estimates how long it would take to immunize India's eligible population, which currently is the 18 plus age group. And for this, I had to look at available supplies. Most of the Indian vaccine companies are, as I said, they don't put out this information easily. So, which means I had to resort to media reports. And also there was some bit of contradiction in the supply claims made by companies, and which was made by the government. So I had to not only piece together the information, but also cross-check it for credibility and consistency. So the data gathering did take some time and effort, but I'm quite glad with the way it turned out.
Okay. All right. Well, thanks very much, Vibha. So Vibha's infographic will be appearing in a roundup of recent APAC content, which will be appearing in Scrip soon. And the infographic will be made free access, so make sure to check that out. So thanks very much for joining us today, Vibha.
Thank you, Ian.
Thank you.